How we doing? How we doing? I'm Charlie Anteby. I'm here with the Charlie in the Morning Show. I guess we could call it that. This is actually what we want to say is a late night episode of the Charlie in the Morning Show. We're here. It's 11:04 p.m. on what's today? Let's get this off our screen somehow. May have to start over because this is crazy. Okay. It's February 11th, 211. 211 reminds me, by the way, of a restaurant I used to frequent very often at 211 West Broadway. 211 West Broadway, corner of Franklin Street, when I lived in Tribeca back in the 80s. You're talking about a time before it was Tribeca. In fact, we were circulating amongst the neighbors and the residents of the neighborhood saying, what do we want to call this place? We got Soho, we got NoHo, we got FIDI, which is the financial district. Of course, we have East Village, Greenwich Village, Alphabet City, West Village. We got Chelsea. We got all these places going on. We got Meatpacking District. What the heck we want to call this place? And somebody started floating the name Tribeca, which most people don't know what it stands for. It stands for TRI, triangle, BE, below, CA, canal. Triangle below canal, Tribeca. And there is how the name came about, Tribeca. You learn a lot on the Charlie in the Morning Show. A lot of people heard of Dumbo. Some haven't even heard of it after 25 years of popularity. And they don't know what that one stands for. DUMBO. Down Under Manhattan Bridge Overpass. It's there. It's there between the Manhattan Bridge and the Brooklyn Bridge on the Brooklyn side, under the overpass with the cars going across the bridge. You got that beautiful view, and you got the river on the east side, and you got the New York skyline, and it was a natural, beautiful neighborhood, came about very strong, called Dumbo. In fact, the first move they made, there was a lot of developers involved. They had a lot of inventory of real estate, square footage, apartments, lofts, so forth. So they went to Starbucks and they made a deal. They said, we're going to give you a store for $1 a month for 20 years, 25 years rent. Your rent is $1 a month, one condition. What's the condition? You stay open 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. So this place that was barren, empty warehouse space all of a sudden came alive with a Starbucks that was always open. And everything started to revolve around that. It became a sushi place next to it, and another place down the block, and a grocery store over there, and a bodega over here. And a guy who's a cousin of mine, we're talking about it tonight, opened an eyeglass place over there. And it started to fill in with galleries and all cool stuff, and it became Dumbo. So getting back, we went to 211. Back in the day, I spent a lot of time there. In fact, one of the guys I used to take there, and I'm looking for it while I'm talking to you, was a celebrity by the name of Tiny Tim. He had a bodyguard. His bodyguard's name was Jim Connolly. You could see here Jim Connolly was a dear friend of mine. He handled the security for the Mud Club and Studio 54, amongst other clubs. He had all cops that were off duty handling the situation. He was placing them into all these different clubs, and outside the clubs, and the security was handled. Because back in the late 70s, early 80s, there was nothing like the New York City nightlife and the clubs. In addition to handling security for the clubs, he was the private bodyguard for a gentleman by the name of Tiny Tim. And if you don't know Tiny Tim, Tinytim, absolutely Google him. He had a very big hit called Tiptoe Through the Tulips. He had his wife, they got married on TV. He was often appearing on the Ed Sullivan Show and a lot of the other popular shows in the early 60s, late 60s, 70s. Tiny Tim was a megastar. Really was a megastar. Jim Connolly was his bodyguard, and Tiny and I were pretty good friends. So I have his autograph sitting here. It says, "Best of luck, Tiny Tim," and I guess it says January 11th, 1984. So we're talking about 42 years and 1 month ago. And we used to go to 211, and we would sit at the bar, we'd have a good time, we'd have a couple of drinks, no big deal. And then they'd give us a table way, way in the back corner. And it was understood Tiny Tim was an extremely shy man. He didn't want no crowds. He didn't want paparazzi. He didn't want nothing. Tribeca was a very quiet place. And nobody bothered us. They gave us that back table after we had our drinks at the bar. We sat there. We had a beautiful dinner every time. And I enjoyed it immensely. I liked living in Tribeca in the 80s. I hung around there since the late 70s. I opened my office there in 86. I took an apartment there in 86. It was wonderful times, great memories. I enjoyed it immensely. Did I just say immensely twice? I didn't mean to. You'll forgive me. So we talked about a little bit of New York real estate trivia, neighborhood trivia, naming the neighborhoods, and so forth. I remember when Alphabet City came about, which really, why did they call it that, Alphabet City? Because it was all the way in the West Village, East Village, Avenue A, Avenue B, Avenue C, and down in the blocks of 10th Street, 9th Street, 8th Street, 7th Street. And one of the places that was there was, it was a sushi place, and I forget the name of it, Avenue Alphabet, I don't know what it was called. It was on 6th Street and Avenue A, and they had kept very late hours. They would be open at 4:30 in the morning. Whenever you went there, they were open. And the sushi was good. And that was a very edgy neighborhood, but it was up and coming, and anybody who got in made a fortune because it went up. It went up quite a bit. Me, I was a spoiled guy, you know. I lived on 10th Street, 5th and 6th. I lived on 11th corner of 5th. I lived in Tribeca, so where am I going? To Alphabet City? It wasn't going to happen. You know what I'm saying? I love talking to you guys. I hate carrying the camera myself. I hope these episodes will last a long time and be able to carry a message to the young people in our community that they will hold dearly to their hearts and continue to extract whatever benefit they get from it. I'm going to start signing off. I don't know what more to say. I'm not eating a lot of junk food. I'm trying to do walking at night. I try to control myself at dinner tonight. I could have done a drop better, but I'm satisfied I ate. I actually had a cookie with some sprinkles and some jelly inside with a little tip of chocolate, you know, the other tip not chocolate. One cookie, but it's a big cookie, and without that, I don't know where I'd be. Maybe if I had a thin mint, a little tiny. Sometimes you're just craving that chocolate before you go to sleep. So we've been talking a while. It's almost 11:15. This is a Thursday, a Wednesday night. Wednesday night. Tomorrow's Thursday. We'll take something out of the freezer because we have these pre-packed tins for Shabbat. And I'm closing in on 10 minutes, so I'm going to shut it down now. Tell everybody I hope you're having a great winter. And I hope you enjoyed the episode.